CHEP is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping homeless and at-risk veterans and their community by providing temporary housing and valuable resources. Join us in the next 30 minutes as we meet some of the people behind this wonderful organization and we find out about all the efforts that they are making to raise funds to help our vets in need. I'm Christy Breslin, and this is Harford MagaScene. Jack Berkeridge is the CEO of CHEP, and he is here to tell us about this wonderful organization that gives back to the vets in need in our community. What are they doing? How can we help? What are they all about? We got a great show ahead of us, and Jack is here to start it all off. Hi, Jack.
Hi, Christy. Thank you so much for coming out, and thank you for all that you do.
Now, Jack, what is CHEP? What exactly does it stand for?
So CHEP stands for the Chesapeake Health Education Program. It stood for the Chesapeake Health Education Program from 1990 until about 2023. Today, it's communities helping to empower patriots, people, and professionals.
Now, why the change?
So what's interesting, Christy, is we set out to really, in order to support our veterans, go out to the communities and help educate them on what our veterans need, right? Be careful what you wish for, because as we started setting out into the communities, we saw almost as great of a need within our communities in Harford and Cecil that it became pretty apparent in order to be that nonprofit of choice, in order to be the organization that we wanted to be, we needed to help support them as well. So that's the people part. Patriots, obviously, is our veterans. And then we're really hoping to tap into that professional network to really drive revenue and drive funds to support both of those missions.
Now, Jack, you talked about your vision. What is your long-term vision for CHEP?
Yes, ma'am. So you're going to hear some amazing diversification of thoughts and concepts to where we're really going out and spreading our wings. The first vision is nobody shows up on our doorsteps coming off a winning streak. So I feel my number one responsibility is to empower all of these great people and never tell them no. So when they need that dollar, when they need that car, when they need that house, when they need that bed, we make it happen. Long-term sustainability, right? Donations are not what they used to be. Donors are not what they used to be. People are making life decisions in the grocery aisle. Eggs are $7 a dozen, right? We are going to create a mechanism to where, even though we're 35 years old, Christy, we're very much a disruptor in this industry. So what if a nonprofit could go out and create value, create a business line, or create products that would actually serve individuals, companies, or professionals, use those revenues to be a self-sustaining, almost for-profit entity that wakes up every day and fulfills the nonprofit mission. That's the long-term vision.
Now, from what I see, CHEP looks like a pretty big organization. How large is it?
We're a global organization. We have an associate that works in France. Anybody that calls in, and we get calls from all 50 states, we never say no. So we're truly not only a nationwide company, we're a global enterprise, and I think this is just the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. Now, how do you get, if there is a vet that is in need and they want to take advantage of your services, how do they get started?
Sure, so there's a lot of different ways, Christy, and thank you for asking that question, because there's a big disconnect, and what's really shameful is even for our veterans, there's a lot of our veterans that don't know where to go, right? So the first channel is find your local VA. Once you find your local VA, you'll be assigned a case manager, and the case managers within the Veterans Administration, they will assess you, your need, what you need to be successful, and they'll align you with all of the resources that are available to veterans, right? We are just one of a very large list of resources available to our great veterans. Second, if you're local, Harford or Cecil County, stop by. We're right on the Perry Point campus, Building 82H. We are open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. You can also call in 410-642-1195, or if you can't get to us for whatever reason, right, find us online at www.chepinc.org and look for the resources, and we'll guide you to where we go. Facebook as well. If you can find a phone, if you can find somebody's phone, find us on Facebook, message us. We monitor that 24/7.
Jack, thank you so much, and you gave us all the steps to take, so we know that people are going to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. So thank you for being such an advocate.
Christy, thank you.
Well, coming up next, we're going to speak to the former CEO and hear more about the humble beginnings of CHEP, where they started, and how far they plan to go. Kathy Bennett is the Director of Continuing Education and Accreditation here at CHEP, and she is here to tell us all about what they do for our vets. She's also the former CEO, so we're going to get her vantage point about all the good things that are being done right here in our community. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Christy.
Now, Kathy, talk about CHEP's core mission and really how it's evolved over the years since it began.
So CHEP was originally founded to meet a need that was mutually identified by the Veterans Administration and also some community providers back in 1990. What happened was there were many veterans from this campus here at Perry Point that were being discharged out into the community, and the community providers really didn't understand the benefits and all of the different types of issues that the veterans were presenting with out in the community. So a couple of the community providers and Dr. Jerry Kelly, who was part of the VA at that time, got together, began to discuss these needs, talked about developing some very basic educational programs to bring the community and the VA providers together. That's how it all started. And then over time, there were some empty houses out in the village. And again, Dr. Kelly stepped up and worked with a couple of other individuals within the VA to create a housing program for the veterans that were being discharged from the various programs here on Perry Point. That program was a grassroots program. Within 5 years, the program was able to expand to South Carolina and then again later on into DC. And what transpired after that was a dual mission, actually, for the organization. We had transitional housing for homeless veterans that we were supporting, as well as a very vibrant educational program. The educational program really took off. So continuing education and local programs generates a small amount of revenue that goes directly back into the transitional housing programs. There's always a funding gap. There's a lot of restrictions on the grants that we receive. So there's many things that the veterans, when they come into the program, need that we're not allowed to use the actual grant money for. So it really becomes a mix of donations and fundraising by the organization, as well as the education programs provide a revenue stream to help support the financial needs of the transitional housing program.
Now, what would you say is the organization's greatest asset today?
Without a doubt, it's our people and certainly our leadership. I have to say, since I'm no longer the CEO for the organization, what has happened here within the past year has been nothing short of a miracle. I really feel like everything that's happening, all of the different initiatives that the CHEP organization has initiated this year have been all geared to just shore up the future of the organization.
Kathy, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do, and it's amazing how much you give back here at CHEP.
Well, thank you. It's been a wonderful, very fulfilling career. It's been a fantastic place to work.
Well, we have much more to come. We're going to talk about the Outpost thrift store, the food program, and the extensive community partnerships. Stay with us. Now I'm joined with Yvette Valentine. She is the Director of Homeowner Support and Services, and she is here to tell us about all the wonderful things that CHEP is doing in our community. We're going to talk about the Food Link program and the Outpost thrift store. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
What is CHEP's people mission?
So CHEP's people mission is focused all about finding the gaps in our current resources here in Cecil and Harford County and being able to fill those gaps with meaningful, sustainable ways of making them work.
Can you talk about the importance of all the community and nonprofit support that you receive?
Yes, absolutely. So we are very grateful for all the support that we receive. We have businesses, local businesses that donate to us goods and finances. Some of them even are able to give a portion of their proceeds to us, as well as some of the community members. They donate with goods and financially. We also have partners in the community like Hogs and Heroes Foundation and Freedom Hills Therapeutic Riding, who all bring a certain provide a certain service that goes beyond what we can fill or offer.
Now elaborate a little bit more about CHEP and its mission.
So CHEP originally started in 1990 as an educational program. It was started by a doctor on Perry Point who wanted to provide continuing education program for the professionals that serve the veterans. However, they quickly realized that the veterans that they were serving needed more than just their professionals to be educated. They needed more housing, more fulfilling ways to be able to support them. Today, we are just kind of meeting people where they are and trying to give them pathways to sustainability and independence.
Now, one of the ways that you do that is the CHEP Outpost.
Yes.
So talk about that.
Yes, so that is one of our newest adventures. We are just now taking donations, so it's not quite open yet, but this is an initiative that is, we call it Retail for Real Change. So you go there, you buy, and you're buying smarter because you're saving, and you're also helping to support the lives of others. So we take anything, of course it has to be clean, odor-free, pet-free, but clothing, furniture, appliances, anything that helps us to be able to resell and also fill our homes. So if our transitional permanent housing needs something, we'll use those items and those aspects first before we'll turn it over to the stock floor.
Well, how can people shop at the Outpost, and what do they need to know before visiting?
They should know that they're going to get a good buy, first and foremost, and that they're helping to sustain our mission. But they'll be able to find anything, probably one of each there. So, but it's going to be clothing and furniture, appliances, probably, I mean, anything people are donating using in their houses will be sold and purchased at our outpost as well.
That is fantastic. Now, not only that, but you have the Food Link program. Yes. How does that work?
So when when veterans come into our program, they come with really very little. So we started a small food pantry because a lot of times they don't even have resources to purchase food. And then from that, we realized, again, the gaps in our resources, that there was an area that really needed us to come in and provide food for that certain area. So we're starting the Food Link to be able to help fill that gap.
What do you see from your vantage point, the future of CHEP, and what are the biggest needs that they have right now?
So the future of CHEP is, in my eyes, is growth and sustainability. So if you help us out financially, you're helping us to expand our housing programs. If you help us out with bringing us food donations, you're helping us to expand the food link. If you bring us material donations, you're helping us to, sustain the outpost, which then helps us to be able to, continue our mission here and helps us to be less grant sustainable because, grants are very hard to come by and everybody's applying for them. And so this is one way for us to help ourselves be self-sustaining.
Well, thank you so much, and hopefully we're going to get a lot of donations from this, and people know that they can check out the Outpost store, and that will help our vets, who we value so much.
Yes, thank you.
Now, what do we do for housing for the vets in need? All that coming up next. Jennifer Travers is the Director of Operations for Housing here at CHEP, and she is here to tell us how they support the veterans with giving them places that they can call home. Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Jennifer, what is CHEP Housing? Kind of give me the overview.
Sure. CHEP Housing is a grant and per diem program, so we're partnered with the VA Medical Center to offer transitional housing to veterans who have honorably served, and they can come into our program and we assist them with giving them a hand up and getting them back on their feet, giving them a place to stay, and connecting them to the resources they need to be the best versions of themselves.
Now tell me, what specific impact is your nonprofit really striving to make in the community?
We really want to change the stigma associated with seeking help for things like mental health, addiction, homelessness, just really things that people struggle with. We really struggle as a community to ask for help when we have services like here at CHEP that we can give to individuals to help them get back on their way and back into the community and just feeling like the best version of themselves.
How do you measure the success or the impact that you've made here?
Yeah, we look at our success by how many individuals leave our program with successful housing, which means they have a space to call home, which means they are either renting or have purchased a home coming out of our property.
And you do have some key challenges, and your organization faces them on a daily basis. So what are some of the things that you're up against?
We do. So our grant per diem only covers a certain amount of the resources that we're able to give to a veteran. So it covers us helping a veteran find a job, but once they find that job, they may need help with transportation, like they may not have a vehicle. And our grant doesn't allow us to pay for their transportation. So we really need things from the community that maybe can help us bridge the gap to give them maybe their first 2 weeks of transportation to their new job that we helped them obtain, while helping us pay for what that transportation looks like until they get their first paycheck and then can kind of come up with their own succession plan.
I do want to address some of the common misconceptions that people have.
Yes. I think when you look at all the pretty things we do, right, the fundraising looks really great, and then you're looking at maybe the cost of that ticket. But then if you realize that those dollars, that ticket price of your attending one of our fundraising activities, if you realize that pays for a veteran to get new clothes to go to work, or a training class to obtain a CDL, or transportation to the new job that they obtained, really changes, I think, the outlook on why you'd want to spend your dollar with CHEP versus someone else.
Jennifer, thank you so much. You do so much good for so many of these deserving vets. So seriously, thank you for all of your efforts.
Thank you so much, Christy, for having me.
Now, as you have seen, they do so much here at CHEP to help out our vets in need. How can you help out? Volunteer opportunities, there's so many of them. We'll hear all about it coming up. Victoria Anderson is an executive board member here at CHEP. She is so passionate about what she does, and she's here to talk more about their mission and why she is so passionate about the work that they're doing in our community. Hi, Victoria.
Hi, Christy. How are you?
Now, Victoria, you're an executive board member. What exactly does that mean?
Well, an executive board member is part of decision-making over certain thresholds for the company. For the most part, the board is involved in all of the decision-making in terms of the company keeping us in communication, and, we have our quarterly board meetings. But when certain decisions reach certain price points or, kind of need a consensus, the executive board is then part of those decisions.
Well, I know that we want people to be involved. This is just such an important thing. So if they do want to get involved, what kind of steps do they take to do that, and what does that involvement include?
To get involved, very simply, to start out first, you can go to chepinc.org. We have a Get Involved little drop-down button where you can find ways to volunteer. You can see the current needs of, in real time, what we are looking for. So that right there is probably the easiest way to get involved.
Now, Victoria, you're very passionate about the veterans. Everybody has a story, so tell me yours.
I am very passionate about our veterans. I am a Gold Star widow. For people who don't know what that means, my late husband was killed in action in 2005, October 19th, 2005, near the Syrian border in Karbala, Iraq. I was 20, he was 21 when he was killed. It'll be 20 years this year, this October. And I saw firsthand, obviously, what I went through, with the trauma of losing a military spouse, but everything else that comes after. I saw the guys come back to their marriages falling apart, alcoholism, addiction, weight gain, just angst, turmoil, survivor's guilt. It's all there. Nobody talks about it because Veterans Affairs can be a very taboo, political hot topic, even though it shouldn't be. And my passion for the veterans comes from the fact that this is not something you want to experience to then make change.
Right.
Nobody should experience what the service members can sometimes go through when they're out doing their job. Veterans' health, veterans' well-being, the homeless issue, all of it, it shouldn't be like an extra side topic that gets talked about all the time. These people are in our community now. They interact with you every day. You might not even know they're homeless.
Now, Victoria, what is something that you would specifically like our viewers to know about CHEP?
The homeless veterans that we serve here are everyday Americans. They come from all branches of service, with all sorts of job titles, with all sorts of situations that deserve to be treated with respect and humanity and care. You are talking about a part of the population that essentially gave up their freedom for a few years, right? When you talk about enlisting, you don't get to come first anymore. There is no, well, actually, I'm busy that day, so no thank you. There is none of that. Once you sign that line, you don't come first. Your family doesn't come first. Your children don't come first. Your wife doesn't come first, because the country's well-being comes first. Not everyone is capable of doing that. I didn't. There's plenty of people that don't. These people do. Yet somehow, they are a side note or an afterthought in general in today's world. And I'm trying to change that. It takes quite a person, man or woman, to say, you know what, for the next couple years of my life, I'm gonna not know what I'm heading into, because who knows what can start in the world, right? My late husband was already joining the military before 9/11 happened. And when 9/11 happened, he tried to join early. These are very unique and special individuals that deserve unique and special care and time and effort from people. Because whether you agree with the politics in today's world or not, whatever way you vote, it doesn't matter. These people get up every day and put on their fatigues the same way someone puts on a suit and tie. And they go to work. And they go to work for the country and for us. And I get to wake up every day, go to work, go to the grocery store, go out with my friends, enjoy my life, which I have built a beautiful one. I have built a beautiful life for myself. And I get to enjoy it because of everyone else that signed that line.
Victoria, thank you so much for sharing that story and for all the things that you're telling our viewers, because that's important things for them to know, especially coming from someone like yourself.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak freely. And I hope that everyone can see what great things we're doing here at CHEP and come help us out.
Oh, absolutely. Now, speaking of helping them out, how did they raise the funds? Where did the funds go? We'll touch on that when we come back. Breck Autry is the Director of Operations Support and Strategy. She's here to tell us more about how they raise the funds and what they do to provide care and comfort for our vets. Hi, Breck.
Hi.
Now, Breck, what does the landscape of fundraising look like nowadays?
Well, I would say it's pretty challenging, especially here in this area in Harford County and Cecil County. There are just so many nonprofits that the need for fundraising has kind of oversaturated the market. So we face a lot of challenges getting organizations to buy into sponsorships and things of that nature. So we've tried to pivot and come up with solutions that not only help benefit us as an organization, but help benefit the businesses that we're working with by providing them with tangible goods and services in exchange for their sponsorship dollars.
Well, I know the continuing education is a big part of this, and it's changed a lot over the years, right?
It has. It has gone from, speaker-led, in-person driven experiences to nobody has time for that anymore. So there's a need to pivot and adjust what we're putting out there and offering in a way that benefits the consumer, essentially. So I think that people will see that there are a lot of changes in the pipeline for how we are going to do continuing education into the future.
Now, Breck, tell me some of the many benefits that CHEP provides for the vets.
Aside from the transitional housing that we have here on Perry Point and in South Carolina, we provide just so many services. We provide mental health support, we provide peer assistance, we provide grocery shopping. There's a ton.
Can you talk about some of your fundraising efforts?
Sure. We have signature events. The most notable ones are our casino night, our 5K, our golf tournament that we have in June. This year will be our 8th annual, and then our Jingle Bell Ball near the holiday season.
Now, I know that fundraising is your forte. So tell me about some of the biggest challenges you face when you're out there trying to raise these well-needed funds.
I think donor fatigue is the biggest one. Again, with so many organizations out there fighting for the same dollars, and one organization alone has several events throughout the year, it becomes tiresome for the person on the other end to be able to open their pocketbook and offer the money that they want to.
Breck, thank you so much. And what you all do here for the vets is just phenomenal. So I know our community is going to come together and help support the cause.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming out and letting us tell our story.
CHEP strives to make a better tomorrow. There is no veteran left behind. If you would like to help them with their efforts or even volunteer, you can visit them at chepinc.org. I'm Christy Breslin. See you next month on Harford MagaScene.